Whoa, 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 whoa. What is up, everybody? How are we all doing today? How's chat doing? How's the world doing? Redbeard, how are you doing?
Fantastic.
Is that because we got the man, the myth, the legend, Golod here today?
I finally got my listen, this is the only man in the world that I simp for. And anytime I see Golod's name on the forums or pop into the office hours chat or something like that, I was like, yeah, I'm a proud Golod simp.
Proud Golod
Sounds
simp.
got a terrible take, probably. Just an awful take.
So Golod, welcome on the show, and chat, welcome. Two Guys and a Bard, your favorite Wednesday night show. We're going to kick it off the way that we always do. And we're going to go around the horn. What are you guys drinking tonight? Golod, what are you drinking tonight?
Hogarden.
Well, Hogarden. All right. Little wheat beer. Get it going.
It's a good one. I like that one.
Redbeard, what are you drinking? Are you drinking?
Yep. Yeah, I'm officially kicked the COVID, so I'm back to drinking this week. So
Kicked it to. I like it. I like it. I like it. You don't want to take any time off. What are you drinking though?
I have what do I have? I think it's just whiskey 7-Up.
Okay, not those alcoholic Mountain Dews, which I
They're
told
in the fridge. Should I get one?
please don't. I told Drop Bear about those, and she's like, "Oh, those are just like Trulies for gamers," and I'm like, "That is that is rude. That is inconsiderate and really fucking accurate. Really accurate." And then tonight I've got from McKellar. I was just down in San Diego, so I was able to pick up some McKellar. It's their West Coast IPA, the MKSD Burst. So some good stuff here. And now, Golden, we kind of want to start with you. Whenever we have a guest on, one of the first things that we like to talk about is sort of your background. What excites you, where you've been, what games have you played before, and really how did you figure out about Ashes of Creation?
Well, when it comes to MMOs, I played RuneScape and MapleStory way back in the day, like probably 2005, 2006. Well, not like 1990s time, but
Yeah.
And I had a lot of fun with that. I really missed playing in an MMO those days. After that, really, I played mostly single player games. I wasn't really interested in that during like high school and college. I was playing more like chess, honestly, than anything else. But eventually I just felt like I wanted to get back into an MMO, and then I watched the Lazy Peon video, and early 2021, right before they were going to do Alpha 1 originally, before they pushed it back yet again. And it's just, I miss like a social aspect in a game where, I can hang out with like a ton of people. We can interact in the open MMO world. I can have a reputation. I can just ruin my reputation, or I can have a good reputation. That's really what I'm missing the most of. But with Ashes, there's just so many systems that you can learn about and get excited for that I'd hate to list all of them.
Yeah, it is a game that I know somebody was comparing. There was a list that was circulating on Reddit years ago, and it was all of the Ashes of Creation known systems versus the systems, and it was comparing it to like other MMOs and other games in general, and it was not even close. The list was just so much longer. This really stands to be one of the deepest games potentially ever made. Definitely potentially ever made, but I think we're always interested to see when people get into Ashes of Creation, because we've got over 5 years, almost 5.5 years now of an announcement of this project, and we've had people at every stage, really, from like right away in the Kickstarter. Last week we had Alpha Soul, and I was talking to Alpha Soul afterwards privately in DMs, and I said, I'm just curious what your Kickstarter number is, and I'm very proud of my Kickstarter number. It's like 160 something. I'm very early on. He's in the double digits. He was within the first 100 people to back this game, and I'm like, wow. And then yet we still have people on a daily basis discovering it, which is so cool. It's really just amazing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, half our time in Suspects New World chapter, it was trying to explain to people like, yes, we have a chapter with a New World, but we're actually gearing up for this game called Ashes of Creation, and these MMO gamers being like, oh, what's that? And of course, following the game for 5 years, you're just like, what do you mean? What is that? Like, I don't understand. What rock have you found? But yeah, there's a ton of people completely across the entire spectrum of when they've joined. And I think I can't even say the most recent Lazy Peon video anymore because he just came out with a new one. But the one that kind of initiated that big hype wave, it was interesting being like a long time follower of the game when that came out and seeing all of the new people that onboarded, and the community definitely grew, I think, in a positive direction off of that video. A lot of interesting content creators and then just different forum personalities appeared after that video. But which
you're in that forum personality thing, Golden, because I will say you always have very strong takes whenever there's a discussion on the forum, but I'm yet to disagree with one of your takes. I think they're all really good. They're well thought out, except the time that you said the druids should have fast travel.
I think not me. That was not me. Don't put that on me. That's a reputation ruiner.
Right there. He's like, worried about the Ashes reputation. We're ruining it right away, years before release. But your takes are always are just always so well thought out. They're so well worded. They're just put in there perfectly. And that's sort of why we wanted to have you on here, is to get some really good hot takes. But first, one of the things. So now Redbeard reached out to you and asked if you wanted to be on the show. And I heard that one of the first things that you said is, "Can I play Did Redbeard Buy It?" So, we're playing Did Redbeard Buy It? Tip of the Spear, August 9th, 2022. Get it up, boys, if you haven't seen it. For those in chat, this is our new pack that we are looking at for this month. Very, very Romanish, but then also very samurai. Feels a little disjointed potentially to me personally. I mean, I bought it all, right? I definitely bought it all, but yeah. So I think we're just gonna get right into it. Redbeard, are you ready? Do you know?
Yep.
You pull up your account. All right. I think we're gonna get in. Let's just start right off the bat with Field Marshal's Command, the cloak. We're gonna do this nice and dirty. Golid, did Redbeard buy this?
I think yes. I think this is one of the few he's gonna buy from this. I don't know. I just like the jaws on it myself, like the teeth that open up on the shoulders.
Like on the like on the little pauldrons, and they're actually there.
Yeah,
the Lexia. That's
someone,
mean.
Bump into someone, takes a bite out of them.
All right. I'm gonna have to go the opposite way of you. I like this. I like this a lot. I do not think Redbeard bought this, and I'm not sure why I don't think he did, but it's just a gut feeling.
Okay.
Redbeard, did you buy this?
Yes.
Whoa!
Yes.
Right away. Why did you buy this? What screamed out to you about this?
So there's a little bit of a hint, but keep in mind it might throw you off a little bit for some of the future items in this pack. But I'm a sucker for red. But as far as kind of like the cloak cosmetics go, this could work a lot of different directions. Like I don't look at this and go, oh, this is like
it's only an Empyrean
like
elf or something like that. Right. Yeah.
I could see this on just about anything except for maybe Dunir. But yeah, no, I love the lion pauldrons that are there, and just kind of the overall aesthetic to it. And yeah, red definitely helps. So,
all right.
I think with Dunir, it's like dragging on the ground behind them. I think they
it's a wedding train instead of a
This is what the bearded Dunir women ended up wearing, right?
Yeah.
All right, we're moving on. Now this one was the pet, the Phantom of Brata. Kind of a tigerish, weird club tail thing going on. Yeah, I don't know. I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's I'd rather have this than one of those furry little like corgis or something following me around for my pet. But Golid, what do you think about this one?
My gut's telling me no, but I feel like I should say yes. But I just like with you the last time. I don't know. It's some of like the patches of fur. I just don't like on it personally. I don't know. Maybe Redbeard thinks the same or something.
Yeah, I definitely like it personally. I think I agree with you. I think the fur looks weird. This is very. We've talked about this before on the show. That some of these almost look like 3D renders, and some of them look like just some concept art. This is very clearly concept art, and this thing I think has the potential to look amazing in game, but as of right now, I don't think that there's enough here for Redbeard to buy it.
You were so close with the train of thought. I absolutely think that this is going to look awesome once it gets rendered out in game. This was a yes.
Oh my god! All right.
I think this is probably going to be one of the best pet skins that we've gotten from a pre-order pack once it actually gets rendered out. I think it's going to look fantastic. So it looks weird right now, but because they have done such a good job with how they implement it into the game, I have a feeling this one's going to look pretty badass.
That's what's so hard is this used to be a no for you. This right here.
My compass has changed on
9 months
it,
ago, this, and every time they show something that we saw concept art, they're like, here's this amazing thing in game. Your barometer is just, it's always moving a little bit more. Your yeses are a little bit wider, and it's definitely thrown me off. But yeah, amazing stuff. But let's get to the mount. I am about the mount. I love this mount. The Clydesdale. I will say though, this and the cloak are very Roman to me. Like they're very Roman, and I'm not usually a huge fan of that kind of Romanesque style. But I love, on a personal level, I love this thing. Golan, what do you think about this this amazing horse?
I mean, they're gonna give us a charge ability with the mounts. What else would you want to like just run over people with and that, you know?
There's like a nice armored horse. It's gonna be much more intimidating than a snail horse. Like the armored horse is much better. All right, so
no, you said much more intimidating. Actually, intimidating is the phrase you were looking for.
Burn, Snorse, burn. All right, I think that Redbeard did not buy this though.
I'm gonna go with he did.
So I had to get this one to live out my RP fantasy of being a Budweiser distributor. No, it's basic. It's clean. I love that from mount stuff. I mean, in MMOs, it's hard to go. Well, I say it's hard to go wrong with a horse, and then you get something like the Snorse. But just a good basic horse mount. Absolutely love it. Armored. It's got the red on there. Clydesdales are awesome. Yeah, no, I love this one. The only thing I will say about it is kind of like the face mask thing going on with the horse. It almost made it a no for me because of that. Like
that, I think that's what I was keying in on, is the face mask seems kind of cringe. Yeah, now that you've said that. Okay, so that's 2-0 to Golid. 2-0 to Golid. Okay. I can beat Bardic, no issues whatsoever. Golid gets this thing. All right, the 7th Lancer. So this is the complete costume set. Here's the question. Lancer is in the name. If you read the lore for this, it's about Lancers, right? Do you think that the costume is going to change your weapon to look like a lance?
The weapon is not a part of the costume.
Confirmed the weapon is not a part of the costume. They're showing it with a weapon, though, and it is named Lancer. What do you think? Should it
do this?
Should it? There's the question.
No. And they always do that. They always show something that doesn't come with like the like with the caravan stuff.
Yeah.
They show like the mounts it doesn't come with. It's kind of deceptive on Intrepid's part. You might see a lawsuit eventually, but we'll see if they can beat it.
There's just a big stack of printed out character renders and concept art. They're like, Your Honor, it was supposed to be Pog.
Exactly.
All right, it was supposed to be Pog. Fucking Zoomer court.
Chat, if any of you can record yourself saying it was supposed to be Pog in a court of honor, or in an actual court, I will send you $20 because that would be amazing. I'll fire off right off the bow here. I don't think that Redbeard got this. I think that he likes the other ones. They do have a very medieval aesthetic to them. And I think that specifically with this one for me is kind of where I got confused in this set, because the mask and the lion mask does make it feel a little bit more of a Asian aesthetic, and I don't know if that's necessarily what he likes.
To me, it looks like Predator, and I really like that. I'm gonna go mage, but maybe on one of my alts I'll put this on. But I just don't see Redbeard buying this either. I just don't.
Yeah.
So there's a key thing that you guys forgot here.
Red? Is it red?
And that is Hide Helm works on the costumes.
Oh, I did forget that.
So for that reason, I'm in.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So that's the only. That has actually been the saving grace for other cosmetics in the past, because you can't individually piece them, but Hide Helm does work, at least from what we know so far.
As of right now, that is confirmed.
For that reason, you take the helm off of this thing. I love it. Absolutely.
What are you going to do when it's launch day and they reveal, I'm so sorry, we forgot to decode this and we can't figure it out now. You can't hide the helmet.
Your Honor, they said it was supposed to be Pog.
Your Honor, they said it was supposed to be Pog. They'll just be like, oh yeah, so this is my lawyer, Fane. Because I do want to come back to this
Fane
one.
will get up to the podium. All right, guys, you know what it is. It's Fane.com.
You know what's up. It's Fane.com, where all the Pog thing has happened. But one thing that never happened was this cosmetic set. If the helmet doesn't fit, you must acquit. These are all, I'm ready. I'm prepared. I am prepared to lawyer up. All right, I want to go to I do want to jump past the caravan for a second. And I want to look at the freehold, because this one then kind of screams back to me very Romanesque. And I'm going to just take my shot right here. I'm going to take my shot. I know Redbeard's style for freeholds. I feel like freeholds are where I have the edge. I think I know what he likes in a freehold. I think Redbeard wants this freehold. I think he wants to nestle it up in the mountains, to be a little watchtower where he can go farm his beard oil ingredients. I think Redbeard is all in on this one.
First of all, I'm gonna pause right there. Steven, Intrepid, please make beard oil a craftable item within Ashes of Creation.
That would be great. He's just set production back a month though, so
Scope creep for the beard oil. I'm fine with it.
And this is just one of those questions to me of can I put this anywhere? This one fits a little more anywhere, but I mean, with Watchtower, it's just in the middle of nowhere usually. I'm gonna go with no. I'm gonna go with Redbeard didn't get this one.
Dude, Gullet is owning you today.
What the fuck? 3-0? I've never been
3-0'd. You were literally talking like, this is where I have the edge, and I'm like, okay, cool. He remembers I want to have the random cabin in the middle of the woods type of freehold. And then you were like,
wait,
I think he got this. And I'm like, how is this?
No, but I know you want to be nestled away somewhere over on the thing. I can see you putting this up in the mountain and living out your IRL Dunir fantasies.
I want Redbeard's ranch.
Okay.
That's what I want out of the freehold. So there's the leak for all future Did Redbeard buy it, is when it comes to the freehold.
Let me write that down on my phone here real quick. So Redbeard's ranch. Got it.
Perfect. Red's Ram Ranch.
Red's Ram Ranch. All right, I'm getting 3 out. There's no way I can win this. Golid, congratulations. Just dethroned me. Just not even a little bit. Not even a teaser. Just came in and absolutely destroyed me. Absolutely destroyed me. And let's just see if we can truly cap it off. Let's see how badly you can crush me here. I want to end with the caravan here. The Horn Division supply wagon. It's a wagon. It's got shields. There's a horse. The horse doesn't have armor on right now. I don't know. I'm gonna. I want to say I want to go. Okay, Redbeard did buy this because this looks like the thing he would take to his little cabin in the woods.
I'm going with it's red. It's like he hinted at me earlier. I had to swap up my original picks. It's red. He's gonna pick it.
So this was the one I thought that might actually throw you guys off a little bit. The red does not outweigh the aesthetic. So this was a no. It's a little bit too the thought in my head is and I know the card is completely different, but it just pops into my head. But if you've ever seen Kung Fu Panda, I have a kid, so it's excusable. Let's just pretend that I, didn't watch that before I had a kid. So, but to me, it screams like noodle cart instead of like caravan. I don't know. It just
it does skew more to that Asian style of the aesthetic.
Yeah.
That rubs me the wrong way. Yeah. Okay. So that was we both gave it yes, he was going to buy it. So I got 3-0'd. I got absolutely owned. I did not get a single one. I've never gotten not one right. This has never happened before. What's going on? I must be way off. I
feel like it's probably easier for you guys to figure out the ones that I don't want, because like the ones that I don't want are usually a lot more clear. Like, or I guess when the pack is like, generally speaking, the pack is something that I just don't like, right? I feel like you and Bard do a really good job at figuring out what I get when I don't like the pack versus when the pack is like, okay, this is a good pack. What do I want to piecemeal out of this? I haven't gotten a full pack in over a year. That's for sure.
Yeah. Fair. I wish I had that problem. But guys, we ended. I wanted to end on this one specifically. Because we were talking about what we were going to talk about tonight. We've got a few things that we can definitely touch on. But Golid, you had something interesting. You wanted to talk about insuring caravans and the caravans in general. And it's definitely not something that we've touched on. And so I kind of wanted to get your opinion on that, on the caravan system in general, what some of your thoughts are.
Sure. In the last live stream, I heard the question. I think it was, can we give stuff to someone else to do a caravan for us? And I was just like, no, that's basically asking if you can trade. But Steven decided to go on a little, and it sounds like that they're trying to do some sort of escrow system where there's could be a lot of potential problems where if you and I make a deal about, well, if the caravan fails, you owe me money, you owe me insurance or something, and that's practicality wise, people can just not pay you when it fails. So It sounds like they're really changing the caravan system to try to account for what we would call transaction costs, risks. They're trying to make sure that all the caravan systems are going to actually work instead of what a lot of people think and are worried about, which is that no one's ever going to use a caravan. You'll just have 50 people run goods back and forth between cities. Why get a slow caravan when you go on a fast horse with a bunch of people who, you're already going to have a lot of people, presumably, to defend these caravans. I don't even know if we are allowed to zerg them or not, which could be a huge problem as well.
I mean, yeah, that's always been kind of the thing. We've talked about it in relation to guild size a lot of, if you make these buffs too powerful, instead of a 300-man guild, you're going to have, 650 with the caravans as well, right? How much can a caravan truly hold that I'm going to put at risk if I have 300 people that can just as easily, everyone put a bunch of logs in your individual backpacks, get on your mounts, and together we are riding across here from point A to point B. And it may take a little bit longer because you have to hand out those materials. You have to get everyone together at the same time. When you get to the other side, you have to vendor it and do all of that. But does it end up working a little bit better, right?
I mean, I think exactly what you guys are saying is what's going to end up happening with the more rare resources. I would rather give a rogue a stack of the super rare crafting material that we got and have them go from point A to point B, and maybe it takes longer, maybe sure, you have to trust that person, but the chances of them being discovered over a caravan being kind of like a public event thing that is happening, I think is it's probably a little bit safer. And so I see caravans as like, I actually see them as the exact purpose that you're talking about, Fane, for all, like just the 5,000 stacks of wood that you have of like low tier wood that you just want to move from, a guild wants to move it from point A to point B. I feel like that would be better than saying, hey, you 200 people, let's move all of this stuff over. Though that could be beneficial, I don't think it would necessarily be worth it. My concern with the caravan system is that not necessarily that it won't be used, but that there won't be anything worthwhile in them because people aren't going to want to risk their more rare resources within a potentially public event. And then if and when that happens, then the caravan system kind of dies from an event perspective, which to me is probably the biggest draw that it has to it. Because if you can't attack, or if it's not worth it to attack the caravan, then why go out and hunt down caravans? So it just kind of turns into this arbitrary thing that happens, and it's good for the people who want to move goods, but it's not good as a event within the world that can happen.
So go ahead, Golan.
Oh, I was just gonna say my thing with like the having lower tier goods transported by caravans, like that kind of makes sense because like the price of wood in one place is a gold, another place it's a tenth of a gold or maybe even less, and so it makes sense to we won't put like a lot of wood and get it over there. But if we're talking about lower tier goods, the way I thought about how the resources are going to work is that everywhere is going to have access to lower tier goods, and then it's really the higher tier stuff that's going to be region specific. Now, I could be wrong about that, but I guess we'll just have to see how things end up.
Yeah, it's and chat, chat's saying, as of right now, they're saying players carry 1% of a caravan, mules carry 1/10 of a caravan. It will be slow as well. People will use caravans. If they don't in A2 Intrepid, it's going to adjust the numbers, which I agree, right? It's just got to happen. I mean, the question with the caravan is, even though players can carry 1% of a caravan, that means that now you need to fill your caravan completely, or else it's not worth it. Because if I can get 50 people to then take 50% of a caravan and move it across the world, and to Redbeard's point, you're not going to be seeing more rare resources transported in these. That stack of 10 is going to go on somebody's individual person. So do caravans just become a system, and the whole defense and attack and everything around that, and that whole kind of PvP game cycle, does that just go away? And what can they do to really make caravans and moving stuff in caravans extremely, extremely meaningful?
Yeah. Well, and to clarify my point there, I do think that caravans will be used. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of if like you said, the PvP cycle side of it is going to be utilized long term. And I mean, we need to see kind of what the incentive there is, because and they might need to incentivize by giving a reward that isn't actually an item from within the caravan. And maybe they're already planning on that, right? I mean, they talked about kind of that what was it? Steven had mentioned it. It was like two or three live streams ago. The leaderboards, whether you're an attacker or defender of caravan. And so some of your reputation, kind of that social currency might be a reason why people participate. But how long does that keep somebody involved within the system? And so I think the system will be used on one level, but it needs to be used on multiple levels for it to, in my opinion, kind of have a place within the world, because all of the World of Ashes creation is intermingled and intertwined with each other. If one system's not doing that, then that could affect other systems. I don't know off of the top of my head how that could affect the game. If the attack and defense of caravans isn't being utilized, I don't know what that could do to other parts of the system.
I mean, one of the hard things with caravans, right, is that it definitely makes up for, with these guilds that have a large swath of people that are well organized. And then you have these individual players or small 20-person guild groups of friends. The caravan system almost doesn't benefit them at all, right? There's not really any value in it for them, because they're not necessarily going to be moving these large quantities of goods. And so I wonder how that's going to interact. And to your point, a year into the game, do we just see a caravan rolling by and we're just like, okay, that's just going later. There's not enough value to attack or to defend something like this.
Something I think they could do is, do you remember in Alpha 1, like they had like the dragon scale like stacking problem?
Yeah.
They weren't supposed to stack. I think that was a feature. They weren't supposed to stack. I think if they add a lot of goods that don't stack in your personal inventory, but do in like a crate that you put on a caravan, I think that would, I mean, really that's just saying instead of like the caravans taking up 100 times like how much a player can carry, that's more like 1,000 times or something. Then, then I think the people will use them more. And I think Rive and Chat brought up a good points that they'll probably balance this in Alpha 2.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
I'm just worried about that. There's just something where you try to balance it on one end and then something breaks and then you try to bounce it on the other and it's like it breaks. So I'm just worried about something like that, really.
I mean, thankfully, it's such a long iterative testing process. There'll be one of the most important things, and it does. This isn't just a physical map thing, but a heat map. And so, what is being interacted with? What systems are being interacted with the most, based on how much we think they should be interacted with? And if throughout all the servers and all the Alpha 2 people, 12, 15, even 100 caravans launch, I don't really see them, that being a crucial system, right? They're going to want to see over this whole time thousands of caravans really launch. And we've talked previously on the show about caravans, and something that gets me excited is the concept of even launching multiple caravans to carry goods, where you have 3 that are full of wood, but the one of them has also some of those rare golden dragon fangs, something like that really helps. You can kind of hide it amongst it. I hate to say I got it from there's the president of Turkey who travels with like 43 cars that are all completely identical, and he is in one of them. And it's like, that's actually like that concept for caravans and
Who's
spreading
trying
them
to
out.
take out the president of Turkey?
Nobody. Everybody loves that guy. But it's the question then becomes, okay, well, if caravans end up giving a reward that's not a portion of what's in the caravan for either success or defense, there's a successful maneuver or a successful siege. What stops me then from putting 1 wood in a caravan, sending a caravan, and sending 20 of my friends to go defend it successfully, and just abusing the system and flooding the market, right? There is the potential here, because this is, if you do something like that where it's giving an external reward, that is more of whatever coming into the market. So something that definitely needs to be balanced for, something that definitely needs to be accountable, and that the people need to be holding themselves accountable, because really at the end of the day, the caravan system, I hate to say it, this is a big guild system. I'm still not seeing your 20, 25 person guild having a ton of use for caravans. Truly.
I don't know if I actually agree with the statement that it's a big guild system, because I feel like the big guilds have the player base to work around the caravan system. I almost think that maybe this caravan system is more of a small guild system, where if you don't have those 300 people that you can call to do something, let's say you got a 50-person guild, a third of those people are online at any given time. So now, you only have, 15, 20 people. You can't really transport those goods as efficiently. So maybe you have to use the caravan system to be able to get those large stacks moved across, vast distances. So to me, it's almost more of a small guild system, and maybe they're okay with that. Maybe they're okay with, because there is just some benefit that bodies gives you, I mean, even in terms of war, right? It's why Zerging is so effective, is because the more you can throw at something, typically the better the better outcome you'll have. Now, that's not always the case, and obviously they're trying to introduce anti-Zerg mechanics and whatnot. But just, I mean, that was war for hundreds of thousands of years, was who had the most people. And so maybe their solution is yeah, if your guild has 2,000 people, you might not have to partake in the caravan system, and maybe they're okay with that. But yeah, no, I think it's definitely designed more for the small guild than it is for the large guild.
Have we gotten confirmation that there is a limit on attackers or defenders? Have we gotten any confirmation on that? I don't remember. I know it's been hinted at, and I know it's been discussed, because I think that, if that is the case and it is a small guild system, I think that if I can just bring infinite people to attack this caravan, no matter how well guarded it is, and your whole guild has 20 people, which means 10 of them are offline, 5 of them never pop into Discord, and the other 5 are actually defending your caravan and doing organized stuff. Why can't I just Zerg that down? And the ability to get those resources on a regular basis, almost like a daily, like, oh, yep, here's a caravan, and we got all these resources. The fear there then becomes that it creates even more inequity between the larger guilds that are already going to have some sort of advantage, even economically, and the smaller ones who are just trying to move their 7,000 wood, not the 80,000 wood that the large guild gathered.
I just hope they give systems to try to break up super large guilds. Like, I know on launch you'll have like 2,000 player guilds, but I just hope it just feels really bad to like play with.
Yeah.
Like, whether that be you're like locked out of a node because you didn't, like, there's a number limit or something like that. I really do hope that they have some sort of anti-Zerg mechanics. It's not fun. To me, it doesn't sound like fun to just have 2,000 people and easily win everything, and you just do your little events and get the W, and you say you got the W.
I would argue and say that even the people who participate in the Zerg and they think it's fun, I think they're lying to themselves. I think what's fun is the story you can tell a year later, but that instance itself of you just being a random cog in the machine of people, I guess there's probably some people that enjoy that aspect, but like me personally, how I've always gamed, like that's not me. I don't like just being a random cog, especially a random cog one of 3,000. Like, that's just, it doesn't feel good, and I can't imagine that most people actually enjoy that. Maybe that's just that's just a bad take for me, but I think people like the stories that they can tell because of the success that the Zerg had, but I don't think that they actually enjoyed the process of being in a Zerg.
No, the Zerging around wasn't fun, but we got such an advantage by doing it that we were the first to go down this raid boss, and we got all this cool stuff, and look at my cool sword. And really, I couldn't have gotten here without the Zerg. But the process of doing the Zerg itself, because it's not rewarding, it's not challenging, it's not fun and interesting gameplay, it's just Zerging.
I would argue and say the random cog in the machine doesn't get that sword. They tell the story of they were there for the first boss kill, but they didn't get shit from it because they're not in the in group. Every Zerg has a guild within a guild. There's always a guild within a Zerg, and that's where you really see the good old boy system happening, right? Where it's like, sure, we might have 3,000 people in our Zerg, but these 50 are the core 50. These are the people who get funneled everything. These are the people, and everybody else is just another dart to throw at the wall. And I just can't imagine that your average gamer wants to be that random dart. I think the problem is they think that they're more than that random dart. I'm here to tell you, you're not. Zergs are not fun. You're lying to yourself.
No, they end up being, to your point, they get the dopamine of success. Right? We keep taking down all these caravans. I'm getting constant dopamine because we're succeeding. Am I gaining anything personally? No, but it's always better to be on the winning side than the losing side. It's the people that whoever wins the Super Bowl, your friend, like I have 2 friends like this, and I call them out. If someone wins the Super Bowl the next week, they're wearing that hat. They're wearing that team's hat. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that you were just absolute, and not even fair weather fans. Fair weather fans are like, I don't care about my team unless they're winning. These guys are literally team jumpers because they want to be associated with success. And I think that that's going to be a major thing here because there is such, like in the real world, there is such reputation and long-term reputation in Ashes. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to jump, potentially even guild jump or node jump on a pretty regular basis.
Oh yeah, I mean we've talked about it before, Fane, in relation to Axiom Suspect. This is going to apply to you're in Overlord Golden.
Yeah.
I know you know that. I'm telling chat that. Golden, did you know you're in Overlord?
I couldn't tell.
Golden, you're in Suspect now. Recruitment.
I've been poached against my will. Help me.
Oh shit, I totally lost it there. What was I saying? Oh, but that just the guild hopping and how even going into Alpha 2, Axiom, Suspect, all these different guilds that have been around for a while, Envious, Ember, everybody's going to lose and gain people through Alpha 2. Then the actual game, then live service is going to come out, and then that's going to happen again. I mean, there's Ashes, I think, is just going to have this very large population of the player base constantly going, is this the guild that I want to be a part of? Yes, for right now. Maybe 2 weeks later, like they're a part of a node that you don't want to be a part of, so you go somewhere else. Like there's so many different aspects within the game and so many different focuses within the game that it's not just PvE or PvP. It's crafting. What type of crafting? Because then your guild, the perks that the guild takes for the guild bonuses, that's going to affect your gameplay being a part of that guild. And so I think there's going to be a lot of different reasons for people to just amicably be like, hey guys, I appreciate the time, but I'm not wanting to be a part of a crafting guild, and the perks that you're taking are more in line with that. I want to do, naval PvE content. So I want the ship perks. I want the PvE perks. And so I'm going to go find a guild for that.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is that you want to make sure that it's easier to do things like outside of, like in economics call this outside of the firm than inside. You want the internal cost to be so high when you try to get more and more, and this is why conglomerates fail a lot of the time, is that it just gets so, you get so many little transaction costs in between everything inside the firm that it's better to outsource. It's better to have, like, for instance, if you're going to be like a fisherman, like you go to the Fisher's Guild, or you go to Crafting Guild or something along those lines. And I think that there's a lot of big guilds that I respect a lot. They organize hundreds of people in an effective way. And when I classically think about Zerging, I think it's, just this one big ball of just, like fireballs coming at you, and you can't, there's no way you can survive just because there's so many. But I think that a lot of guilds can and have in the past effectively organized hundreds of people, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that, and I respect the leadership of that, but I think the problem is that when you're like one of the Zerglings, you're one of the Zerglings.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, and I'm not trying to take anything away from like the leadership side of Zerg guilds. The management that comes with that stuff is absolutely insane. I mean, I did small scale shift managing in the military, where it was me and anywhere from 8 to 12 other people, and just trying to get all of that figured out and try to make sure that people are on the shifts that they want to be on, and like we're breaking people out within the shift where where we need them to be to fulfill the mission, while also at the same time trying to take into account what they want. Like leadership, even at a small level, when it comes to scheduling and coordinating and all of that, is absolutely insane. Let alone when you throw 1,000 people into the mix, right? Like then it's just, I mean, for me personally, I would just say, well, fuck it. We got plenty of people. Like, I'm just going to say what the schedule is. And if they can make it, then cool. And if not, go fuck yourself. But I'm an asshole. So
yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see that kind of the management that comes with this, like the Zerg versus the Alliance. Chad's talking about hopefully the Alliance can, you can band together a bunch of small guilds that can somewhat compete with the large guild. At the end of the day, though, the large guild, even if it is a 300 person guilds, that's 1,500 people that are moving towards the same goal, right? And to Golan's point of the transaction cost, sure, there's 50 people there that are actually in the group, and everyone else is just sort of a cog in the wheel, and maybe those cogs in the wheel will splinter. We might find that we're seeing guilds splinter left, right, and center as their needs and all that change. I do want to circle back slightly on this and kind of get back to the caravan, and really I do want to talk about on one thing specifically that Goal had mentioned is the insurance. And let me just ask you this blatantly: is it a scam? Is there value? Is there value in insuring your caravan? What do you guys think, based on everything we've talked about tonight?
I think the system is fine. I mean, I kind of joke by saying insurance is a scam, but I'm probably projecting reality too much into a video game. But I think I can understand why he's going for it. And if it's something that is an option, I think it's fine. Somebody can pay 50 gold and they insure their caravan for up to, whatever. I don't know how that system works in a game, because even determining the value of something in real life when you have an insurance claim is a fucking process. So how do you streamline that for a video game? So
yeah, Chad had mentioned that earlier. Like, oh, what is the value of the reward? We're talking rewards, and it's like, well, it's the value of what you're carrying. Well, in theory, like Olin said, I'm moving all of this material because I'm going from something that's 0.1 gold to somewhere where it's worth 1 whole gold, right? So what value am I basing it on? The value that I was going to get, or the value that it has today? You kind of have to make it static, unless the caravan runner is saying, running caravan 2,000 gold bounty, and then that however much gold there is split amongst all of the defenders. It's going to be very interesting to see. And then on top of that, I have to insure it. All of a sudden, it's like the cost of what's going into the caravan isn't even, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. There's no longer a point in even running this thing.
I think there's also a big opportunity for insurance fraud.
Yeah.
and all of this. You just tell somebody, just go take this, like, you owe me this insurance. Then you just tell all your friends, okay, now there's nothing valuable in that caravan. Just destroy it, like, kill them all.
Well, and I feel like
my insurance money.
Like, I feel like with Suspect going the mercenary route of wanting to, our reputation is the insurance for that caravan. If we get 5 people hired to go help defend the caravan, and we fail that defense, the insurance, though it doesn't immediately pay back the person who lost out on what they were moving in that caravan, the insurance that's there is that we care enough about our reputation to ensure that we do everything we can to defend that. Even if we lose, we want the person to see, oh, they tried their asses off and they just got swarmed by like 500 people, and of course they lost. Like, there's nothing they could have done. Or on the flip side, if we don't give a fuck, then they're just like, oh, then that word spreads. Hey, don't hire these guys to come defend your caravan because they don't care. Like, and so the reputation is the insurance there, at least from a Merc Guild perspective. Mm-hmm. But as far as the individuals, like, receiving, like, I don't know, maybe it's something that the players should just offer themselves. Like, that would be the benefit of going through a Merc Guild, is that you can actually get insurance through the Merc Guild instead of, and allow that be a player run system as opposed to, a static in-game system.
You show us what's in the caravan. You get the caravan, you take a screenshot, you send it to me on Discord, and I'll give you a price to ensure that. If that caravan gets sieged, I get X amount back. And then that actually does, you'll eliminate the scammers pretty quickly. There will be scammers, but then you get into the kind of subterfuge that Ashes likes to talk about a lot with, okay, I know what's in that caravan. That caravan is definitely worth attacking.
That was literally exactly where my brain went.
I tell some people to go and steal that caravan, and I'll pay out 2,000 gold, but they're bringing back 150,000 golds worth of materials, and they just need to cut me out 10% of that. And so now I'm making even more money. They're getting a bunch of money, and you have the you see it in all those movies, the guy that tips him off about the shipment, right? Yeah. Like, oh, he tipped me off and I get a little cash on the side. And if they get through, I'm still a great employee and I'm a great person. I'm a great guy for in my mind, I just use the word employee for drug cartel movies. Yeah. But if I get the money, then, I get a little money on the side. If they're successful at stealing it all, great. Everything's perfect, and I've got some extra cash, and I don't know what happened, boss. Right? So I think that allowing the players to really take charge of that system would be a really interesting and good step for Intrepid. Going back to the original thing we were talking about, assuming we can get people to interact with this system on a regular basis.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we had a new dev discussion popped up, and I kind of wanted to hit on that here kind of quick. It was a quick question. Do you have it pulled up, Fane? I can pull it up real quick.
I got it. I got it right here. So new dev discussion, tanking. And the question, I mean, it is a question that's not really asked too often, but they talk about, tank participation, and would you prefer the more traditional MMORPG main and off tank roles, or would you prefer to see combat experiences with several tanks fighting? Your MMORPG thoughts?
So I first want to say that this felt like more of a direct question, and I appreciate this question. They didn't just say, tanking, what are your thoughts? They gave us a specific kind of outline of the question, and thank you. Thank you, Intrepid. Yes. Thank you. But go ahead, Golid. You shoot at it first.
Sure. First, I'm just glad that it hasn't devolved into, should we name the tank or not? That's been pretty good success.
I tell you guys, Golid always has the best takes. That right there is the best take on this entire thing.
I think that I like main and off tanking. When I think of off tanking, I'm thinking you're tanking the add-ons, or sorry, not the add-ons, the ads. And then you have your main tanks tanking the boss. I want to see there to be multiple tanks in a raid. Maybe you need 5 to shuffle through the different phases of the boss. Maybe you need an evasion tank for one stage. Maybe you need another. I think that would be really interesting. I'd also would like to see I think I've seen Zillan actually talk about it, and SWOTOR. I think tanks for PvP do a shield, and it makes you really focus on the tank in PvP first. And I've heard some other content creators say that no, the tank already traditionally is enough. They're setting the front of the line. They're the one engaging, but I really like that. I really like the idea of there's something more in PvP that involves tanks than the classic thing we have, which is attack the healer, kill the healer, attack the healer.
Yeah, tanks in PvP serve no purpose. They are a bad DPS, and they can't self-sustain. A healer can self-sustain. They're never going to win the DPS fight. DPS could kill you before they kill them. The tank is just sort of there. And so if you can find a way to allow tanks to pull aggro, and usually you see this traditionally done with just giving the tank a ridiculous amount of CC, but if you can find a way for the tank to actually pull aggro, where if I taunt you, Golid, and we're PvPing and I'm a tank, you literally, and this would be easier in tab target games than non-tab target games, but you could only target me for 15 seconds. And so you're hitting you're going after the healer. I cast taunt. You cannot, whoever has the taunt debuff on them can only do damage to the tank for the next 15 seconds. So any damage they do elsewhere is wasted. Something like that would be, I think could be really interesting way to do that.
Yeah, I mean, as it pertains to the question, I would say traditional role for tanks, especially, and I am thinking about this more from a PvE side than a PvP side. Because I do think that, even if you give tanks more viable role within PvP, I think that you will always kind of see them utilized more within PvE than you do within PvP. Because, and maybe this is just from my limited experience of tank PvP, but it's usually that the tank PvP is either overpowered or useless. And so they're either brought all the time or they're never brought at all. And it's very hard to get a solid balance there. But from the PvE side, I feel like if everybody can kind of off tank a little bit and you have this wide variety of what a tank is, then the idea of tanking loses its identity within gaming. And then the people like myself who enjoy tanking, who want to fill that role for the group, whether it be a 40-man raid or an 8-man, dungeon group, or even just a 3-man out in the world. The identity type kind of gameplay that I enjoy is lost. Mm-hmm. And it's a very traditional role within the game. And I feel like if they, we want to make sure that DPS feel as though they're fulfilling an identity, fulfilling a role. We want to make sure that the healers are, and it's a concern that I have for healers with there being only one healing class. So I feel like if everybody who picks tank as a secondary can fill in as a tank, that doesn't feel great. No. Like it's fine to, that they can help, like you were saying, where you bring like 5 tanks, maybe 2 of them are true tanks, and then the other 3 are secondary tanks, right? And they're able to tank, whatever mob
they can pick up
out.
3 ads, but they're not going to be able to deal with the boss. And and Redbeard, we were talking before, and for anyone that that did play this game, I tell everyone this for me was peak tanking, and I remember the actual mechanics now. It was in SWTOR. It was the first fight of the Explosive Conflict operation. I won't say raid. Zillion yelled at me for saying raid. He said it's an operation. I told him to talk to you about it on the cran apple aisle at the store. Redbeard.
We did.
Okay, good. But I remember there were 2 bosses. If the bosses were too close to each other, there was an enraged mechanic, a stacking damage that they would both gain. So the goal was to tank these 2 bosses away from each other. One would never move. The other one would move around. But at some point, you got, as the tank, too many stacks to be able to survive from one of the bosses. So the tank that was on the static boss would run over to the other, and they would swap. And they had to swap because you didn't want to drag the boss that could move too close. And you would swap multiple times throughout this fight. Things like that, things like aggro drops. I love all of those things. I think it's a very simple way to do a very interesting mechanic and make sure that your tank is awake. It makes sure that your tank is paying attention to what is actually going on. And so I do want to see more traditional tanking. I don't hate if you have a little bit of viability as an off tank. If you're a fighter and you choose a tank secondary and you're in heavy armor and you've spec'd into some damage mitigation or a little bit more constitution in your gear and in your stats, fine. Maybe you can off tank. Maybe you can even be a part where a boss gives a stacking debuff on your tank. You have to go in and off tank for 20 seconds for that debuff to drop, and then they're right back in there. I'm fine with all of that. I think that those make interesting mechanics in games versus just there's more circles on the ground. Don't step in the circle. The circle is bad.
Well, and on the boss side of it, I mean, the tank fights that I enjoyed the most were ones where I'm sitting there having to whisper or DM my co-tank, and we're like figuring out our own strategy of what we're doing.
Yeah.
Unbeknownst to the other, 18 people in the raid. And then we do it so well that it looks easy. And then other people, a very specific situation where it happened, where somebody said, "Oh, this fight is so easy." I think one of us had messed up a mechanic, 1 out of 30 pulls or something like that. It was the tank's fault. The rest of the time, it was everybody else's fault, but the tanks weren't messing up except for this one time. But when a tank messes up, it's really noticeable, right? Because it usually leads to a wipe. And I remember him saying, I don't know how you fucked that up. It's so easy. And I was like, you have your tank set on? All right, I have my DPS set. I'll DPS, you tank this fight. And they wiped the raid 3 pulls in a row. And then it went back. But that aspect of tanking and doing stuff that, some of the best DPSers were tanks at one point because they understand position. They understand mitigating threat and aggro. They understand all this different stuff that you just don't care about as a DPS. And so I feel like as long as they can capture that within tanking in Ashes, then I think it'll be good. Tanking doesn't need to be this thing that looks flashy and amazing. That's what the DPS are for. Mm-hmm. They get all the flashy and amazing, and I'm totally fine with that as somebody who typically plays tank. But I want my job to be difficult enough that if I make it look easy, that everything just goes smooth and it feels great. But then when you have a shitty tank there, it's noticeable. Allow me to shine by just making it look average.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm worried though, Redbeard. If I'm in like a raid with you one night and you get into a debate with one of these DPSs about how
if I'm going to
end up with like 30%,
hour,
you're gonna have like 30% XP debt now. All because
Oh
yeah, just to prove a point, I'm wasting everybody's time by making some nobody tank. Yeah.
Well, I'm super excited to get into this. The 5 pages that have already existed. Really quick, around the horn. Last little quick question. I'm based on scheduling. I'm anticipating the 26th next Friday is going to be we're a week and a half out from the August dev discussion. Now I don't know if you guys saw, but Steven did say in the Discord, September we're seeing Ranger. Whatever that means, that's all we've gotten. Whether that's a full class reveal, whether that's just the ranged basic combat. So with that being said, what do you guys expect from this month's update?
Oh man, this month's update. I feel like they might show us like the map, and they might show us some naval stuff, like the updated map and some naval stuff. That's what my bet would be.
All right, Redbeard.
So when he said Ranger September, I kind of took that as not just a Ranger reveal, but also the range basic abilities. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if we get it next month, or I guess this month. The ranged basic attacks, like we got the melee ones. But I also don't know what he's classifying as like Ranger in September, right? Like you said, is he just talking about Ranger abilities, like a couple of abilities from the Ranger, and we're going to see a bow be used? Or are we getting like we got in Alpha 1 where they did the cleric video and the mage video and
the tank video.
Tank video, yeah, thank you.
It was great that you blanked on that because we haven't been talking about tank for the last 15 minutes. I don't know. I was like, where did that one go? Oh my goodness.
So it'll be interesting to see what it actually ends up being. But for this next one, I think he's hinted at it. He's talked about it. It appeared on the Reddit. We are kind of due for a map update. And for them to kind of go into the specifics on what they're talking about with the changes. We know more water, but we don't know what the specifics of what that means. So maybe we see that this month. I'm not sure.
That's true. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed across the board on all of it. I would love to see all of it. And hey, we're most likely not just going to see a bunch of mounts and dwarven tables. So that's Pog for me. No matter what we see, I'm really excited to see it.
Alpha 2 date for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Sure. Guys, this is the month. I think this is the month we're getting the Alpha 2 date. And if not this month, next month.
And then you've got a little copium right here.
And then, yeah, just a little copium. A little copium right here. All right, guys. Last bit of business that I do want to take care of. We didn't do it last time, guys. We don't want a bunch of alerts and stuff popping up. It does get a little bit crazy, but I do want to go through and just thank everyone who's following us. Brand new channel. Obviously, we were doing it on Bardic's channel. We're now over here. You can find 2 Guys in a Bard here. You can find 2 Guys in a Bard on YouTube and on Twitter. So I just want to thank Baba, Alexia, Sedora, Walrick, Mrs. Redbeard, Wizzy, Psychophobic, Saluna for your follows last week. And then this week, Paul Rex, Riv, and Envious Gaming, which I assume is DA directly. Thank you guys so much for the follow. We're going to get it here. Absolutely not more snores. No shot. So thank you so much for that. We'll be sure to click the follow. You guys know when we are live every single week, Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Golid, where can everybody find you?
On Twitter at Golid1000. Otherwise, you'll see me screaming into the void on the forums or on the Ashes subreddit.
The Ashes subreddit is extra fun.
Join the Golid Simp army. We are one strong.
Golid Simp army confirmed. Redbeard, where can everybody find you?
Captain Redbeard here on Twitch and YouTube. everything right now. I mean, we got just kind of some chill streams right now. I've been doing some different Pokemon playthroughs. I have decided recently with the pushback of Hogwarts and Throne and Liberty that I will be doing a shiny only playthrough for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet when that comes out. So, that basically means I won't beat the first gym for like an entire week. But yeah, should be fun. So make sure you go follow over there. And yeah, what about you, Fane?
Itsfane.com is links to all of my socials. We're still working on some other side projects, and I'm really excited to reveal those to you. Let me tell you something about websites, guys. It's really hard to get the formatting right on mobile. It is almost impossible. Mobile looks atrocious. But we're getting some frameworks done, and I am going to get back into streaming both here and on YouTube, and making a little bit of content on YouTube specifically. I've got a couple videos we're working on right now, so keep an eye out. And with that, guys, it's been a pleasure. Golid, thank you so much for coming on. Definitely appreciate you. It's been a blast. And we will see you all in the Ashes live stream next Friday. Peace out.